everyone. Welcome to today's Making Sales Social LinkedIn Live and podcast. Bryn, how are you today?
I am great, Stan. How are you? Excited to be here with you.
Same here, same here. And I'm looking forward to talking about 10 ways to catch up on LinkedIn. Now, there is a backstory to this. Do you mind giving us the backstory as far as how we
Oh, absolutely. Well, every year for my birthday, I like to give a gift to my network. So ultimately, what I do is I come up with some kind of content. And as a team, we really put together an ebook that is, I'm 57 yesterday, and we put together an ebook. And when we were talking, I think maybe Bob said something like 57 varieties. It was the Heinz ketchup thing, right? So I'm like, oh, let's play with that. So we did 57 LinkedIn ketchup, but then we made it ketchup. So there are 57. If you go to my LinkedIn profile under activities, you will see the ebook that you can download. But I think you're going to surprise me with 10 random tips.
Yes, indeed. And so let's start by talking about mindset. I figured let's go high level and then get a little bit more granular. So starting with just thinking about mindset as a whole. And one of the things that you mentioned is that social selling is a daily practice. It's not simply a campaign.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have an ebook called Social Sale, The Day in the Life of a Social Seller. You can get that at socialsaleslink.com/day. But it's like, what are the things we need to do every single day? And just like we check email every day, we check our voicemail every day, we need to be in LinkedIn every day. And there are some basic things, right? One of them is connecting with everyone that you talk to and going through the connection requests and accepting the ones that make sense, engaging with other people, potentially sharing content that doesn't have to be every day, but it should be on the radar, and making sure that we're responding to the appropriate notifications and messages at a minimum, right? We really should be doing that. We can also take a look at who's viewing our profile and things that we could do. But the mindset around this is that we treat this like we treat email or voice message or whatever our daily routine is. Maybe if you're in sales, you're in your CRM every day. What are the things that you're doing every day? And this should be part of that just naturally. I remember when I got email for the first time at Dun& Bradstreet, I was like, how am I going to fit this into my day? Now you can't function without email, right? And I think LinkedIn is kind of that next evolution of what I need to do on a daily basis to nurture my connections and to grow my business.
Yeah, great, great. And on a related note, there's some things we talk about almost philosophically in terms of how we think through things. And one of the biggest ones is around giving. So give before you ask.
In life.
Always.
Yeah. In life.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, same thing applies in life as in social sales with LinkedIn.
Yeah, I love that. And it really is bringing value. And, we often will say detach from what the prospect is worth to you and attach to what you're worth to the prospect. And, it is, can you bring them value before you ever pitch what you do?
Yeah.
That's great. I love that addition.
And one of the things that requires is that you understand what it is that brings them value.
Mhm.
So you're looking at things through their eyes rather than through your eyes as far as your product or service, because we're always so excited about our product. But we have to think about things from the standpoint of the person we're talking to.
Love that. Perfect.
So we talked a little bit about mindset. Next is LinkedIn. Everything starts from your profile. Now, this is a little more granular. There's a section that nobody uses, but should, and
Okay.
that's the services section.
Ah,
I know you've gotten some value from taking advantage of the fact that LinkedIn now offers everyone a place where we can showcase our services.
yeah, I love this. And, it is interesting because we will say, don't sell, don't talk about your products, don't talk about your services. But LinkedIn now gives us a section that is built to do that.
Yeah.
So I love that we have a place where we can talk about what we do. And in this particular section, we can list how we work with our clients, what that looks like. We can offer a free consultation through there. We can connect web pages or content that talks about our offers, our products, our services. And it really is built to do that. And so I do love that we do have a section there where when people click through, that is the expectation.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Because we spend so much time on the profile talking about position yourself as a resource. It should not look like a resume or that you're selling people. So we talk about the banner, we talk about the headline, the about section. But as you just pointed out, services is where people click there to find out about what you do. They want to know what you offer. So don't overlook that.
Love it.
Um, Visibility and showing up. We talk about posting all the time, but one of the things we don't talk about is, or at least most folks don't talk about as much, is commenting. And one of the points in the ebook is that comments are currency.
Right.
So, any thoughts just on the importance of comments in addition to posting?
Well, so I actually think comments can be way more valuable than any content you share. People are sharing content because they want engagement. They want people to like, comment, and engage. So, purposefully and strategically commenting on the right content with the right people will gain that visibility. The the side effect of that is when you do share content, they are more likely to see it if you engaged with them. So we are signaling to LinkedIn that if we're engaging with these people, they are people that we want to have them see our content. And so we do with the, in that new 360 brew algorithm, we do have a little control over that. The key is make sure that the content you're commenting on is aligned with what you do, at least primarily. So you want to bridge it back to your industry, to the challenges that you solve, or you're at least engaging with the right people in the right industry. Because with the new algorithm inside of LinkedIn, we could easily confuse LinkedIn if we're hopping around industries, hopping around topics. We really want to pick a strong focus and stay there. So there are lots of ways to do this too. In the free LinkedIn, you can create your own um, really custom news feed of posts based on industry and some other filters. So you are really able to hone in on the types of folks and the industries that you do want to engage with.
Yeah. Yep, and commenting is wonderful because you can start doing that even before you start posting content.
Yep.
One thing that hangs up a lot of people is I don't know what to post, but if you're a domain expert and you know your own industry, you can add to the
Yes,
discussions that on what other people are posting.
absolutely.
Now, yep, next, though we mentioned posting, and most people think starting with posting, we suggest, well, you can do both, but Bryn, you talked about the power of commenting. So one of the things you mentioned is content as a conversation starter,
Yeah.
not a broadcast. Because unfortunately, that's the mentality that a lot of people bring to LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about content, and one of the best ways, from my experience, is a poll. That often will start conversations. But asking a question, like, here's an observation that we saw. What are you seeing? But don't just post it, invite people. You can click on that little paper airplane and blind copy up to 10 people at a time. Invite them to have that conversation. Hey, I had a question around this. As a sales leader, I'd love to hear your perspective. Invite them to the conversation. So create the conversation in the post, or the conversation starter in the post, but then invite people to join it.
Yep. Yep. Perfect. So you may hear, our listeners may hear the theme of a conversation.
Yeah.
So you can join a conversation by commenting and be, get visible with the person who posted, because you're helping to amplify their post, as well as to some of their audience as well, in a
Yes.
way that is totally non-salesy. All it's doing is adding value to the discussion. And
Yes.
then when you post, you want to invite people to jump into the conversation that you've started. So it's all about conversations.
And inviting them to it.
And yes, and inviting
I
them.
love that.
Uh, One thing that is a little bit more granular we talk about is how to get attention when you're posting. And one of the things that you mentioned is the hook that stops the scroll, because people are scrolling through their news feed, usually on their phone,
Yeah.
and they're looking. If you do not grab their attention immediately, they're just going to keep going. So, any thoughts on the hook?
Yes, absolutely. So the hook is the first line, but also stopping the scroll is a great image, a great video. And we're using let aggiedoit.com, and it'll take a static image and make it a 8-second video, right? So when you're scrolling, it'll catch your attention so simply, so easily, and you can take any flat image to do that. Anyway, love that. But so the image is a huge piece of stopping the scroll, but that hook is really important. And what we want to make sure that hook does really has to do two things very quickly. The first thing that hook needs to do is it needs to attract the right person. Who is this meant for? Right? Sometimes we've said it, resonate with them. So if you are selling to sales leaders, that is in that first line. So when they're scrolling, they see themselves in it. Or leaders in manufacturing, or whatever it is, that first couple of words that captures their attention, because it like, this is written for me. The next thing it needs to do is create a curiosity or wonder, right? When we do our aware framework. So it create that curiosity, that wonder, where they go, ooh, that's interesting. And by the way, that's the piece where they click see more, right? So that's above the see more button. We want to get them to click see more. So we've got to create that curiosity right in that hook.
Yep. And that see more button is something that sends a signal to the algorithm that people are interested. So LinkedIn's algorithm will show it to more people.
I just had a total tangent thing that went through my head, and I'm going to say it out loud. Do you remember Little Shop of Horrors?
I didn't see it, but I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
So there is a line that's "Feed me, Seymour," and his name is Seymour.
Oh my
Right?
goodness.
So now I have "Feed me, Seymour." So I am going to write something on that. I've just said it out loud.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Okay. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay, let's keep moving.
Good deal. We're going to talk a little bit more about building relationships. And all of us have people on LinkedIn that we're connected with that maybe we haven't been in touch with in a while.
Mhm.
And the bigger your network gets, at least for me, the bigger a challenge it is. So re-engaging with dormant connections,
Mhm.
people we connected with once for a reason, but time has just gotten away from us. And how do we go about re-engaging with people like that?
Well, first we have to determine who do we want to re-engage with, right? We've got a lot of connections. Typically, it's about 10% of our connections are people we want to have conversations with. And there are really two ways to do this. We can download and export our connections. I just did it and it took almost 24 hours for me to get it. So just beware. It used to be much faster, but for you to get your connections, you actually have to download everything. And so it takes a long time to get to it. I still think it's really worth it in your privacy and settings. You can go in data privacy, you can export your data in that. It's a zip file that has a connections.csv, and that's going to give you an exported Excel or CSV spreadsheet that has every one of your connections, starting with the most recent all the way down to the very first connection you've ever made on LinkedIn. With this, we can go through our connections and identify people that we haven't seen in a long time. And because we know there's a ton of turnover in jobs these days, a lot of these folks are somewhere that they weren't when you originally connected. So there could be some big opportunity in there. The other thing is we can search our connections. So there's a in the free LinkedIn, you can pretty much search your first degree connections by location, by industry, and with some little bit of Boolean search logic, you can do it by title or by role. And so you can really build a list of your first degree connections that meet your ICP or ideal client profile.
Yep, yep. And just one tip, when you do download your connections, just set a reminder for yourself to check your email, because I believe the link expires after a certain period of time. So it's
Yes,
not
it
going to be
does.
there a week later. Good.
Yes, that's a good, yeah. And I would say put it even in your calendar to check in 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll be safe. Um, Relationship building. LinkedIn surfaces signals like birthdays, anniversaries, and there's a way to do this right and there's a way to do it wrong in terms of how you take advantage of these notifications from LinkedIn. How do we do it right? Birthdays and work anniversaries done
Oh,
right.
I don't remember what we said, how we did it wrong. So I'm going to throw that back to you. But doing it right, look, there you can very boringly and simply just say happy birthday to someone, right? Like, and or you can have a gift, right? So what if you had a gift of content that you provided people? I actually reverse that and give a gift on my birthday. But these are signals, that it's important to these folks when it's their birthday or their anniversary. You can kind of fall into the cracks of it, or you can actually leverage it and bring real meaningful value. I'm going to toss it back to you, Stan, to talk
Yeah,
about this topic.
birthdays and anniversaries. Yeah, I do not use the default. LinkedIn is trying to help us by using AI, so you can just click on the message and send happy birthday. And that's what everyone does.
Mhm.
So for a happy birthday, even if you try and come up with a somewhat unique message, mention the day of the week that their birthday fell on. If it's a weekend birthday, or someone I know well just celebrated a birthday. And so every 7 years, your birthday falls on Father's Day. Is that amazing or what? No,
Oh,
something,
yeah, that's great.
yeah, that sets you apart from all the other happy birthday greetings and so forth. And same with work anniversaries. So just personalize it a little bit more so you stand out.
Yeah, and you can even probably search that day. If you have a lot of people that have a birthday that day, you could even say, like, find out what good thing happened in history on that day. And that could be a fun thing,
Wow. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Because believe me, they aren't going to get something like that from anyone else.
Oh, I love this. We just took it to a whole other level,
That's
Stan.
very much a whole nother level. Um,
What number are we on?
we are on number 9, um, welcome messages. Because if you're on free LinkedIn, you're limited in terms of how many invitations you can add a note to. But I guess the partly good news is that a lot of people will accept your invitation even without reading your note. I mean, they're just going through and they're accepting. But if they've accepted your invitation, you can send all of them a welcome message. So, Bryn, one of the points that you have in the book is the welcome message that starts a real conversation. And I guess the first thing is to send a welcome message when someone accepts your invitation, because a lot of folks don't do that.
Yeah, so most people don't realize that it's very simple to see your newest connections in order of your newest connections. If you click on the My Network tab and then on the under Manage My Network in the top left, there's a connections and you will see your newest connections. This is regardless of whether you accepted or they accepted, it is in order of your newest connections. So that's a really good place to go to send these welcome messages if you're not sure how to manage those new connections. When someone asks me to connect, I have a welcome message I send right when I accept. So when I accept it, I'll say, thanks so much for your connection request. I had a chance to look at your profile and I noticed this, and then I will usually customize that. So I noticed this. I'm glad to add you to my network. P.S. May I ask how you found me? All right. And I want to know, like, why did you come here today? And that for me is a great way to start the conversation. Stan mentioned you in a conversation. I saw content that you put out there. You came up in a search. Like, there's lots of reasons how they found you, but that starts a conversation without you trying to pitch them or even share content yet, especially when they ask you to connect, right? So that's kind of my little tip of the day.
Yep, that's powerful. And based on who actually responds to that, it gives you a good sense of, how enthusiastic they are about
Right.
actually doing something with the relationship. Now, I'm going to wrap up with a favorite, which
Okay.
is social proximity. And the tip is social proximity: start closer, not colder.
Yes.
So, yeah,
I
expand on that.
This is my favorite. You know me so well, my friend. So social proximity is your pathway to the person you want to have a conversation with. The closest social proximity is I have a first degree connection to the buyer, to the decision maker. If we've got that and we have that relationship, that's great. But typically, that's not the case. So we look at what is our pathway there. So do we have a client that knows who we want to talk to, a strategic networking partner that knows who we want to talk to? Do we have maybe we have a really great connection with someone at a different level inside the organization of where we want to talk? But leveraging your social proximity is about identifying the pathway, the warmest pathway to get you in the door based on your existing network. It really is why I love LinkedIn so much, because there is not another tool in the world that allows you to search and filter your connections and set it up for that kind of success.
Yes. Yep. That is one of the keys about LinkedIn that is so easy to overlook, is the visibility it gives you into your extended network. So, Bryn, thank you. This has been awesome,
It
as
has.
always. Any last thoughts, just as far as the book and Where
Yeah,
folks?
the ebook will be on our website. It's not there yet, socialsaleslink.com/ebooks. Although if you're listening to this in a podcast, it's probably up. But it's also in my feed. So if you go to my activities, currently, it's June 22nd today. You'll be able to find it in the future. It'll be at socialsaleslink.com/ebooks. And also, if you are interested, we've got lots of upcoming events that you can, some free ones, a couple of $11 challenge weeks coming up. You can find those at socialsaleslink.com/events.
Great. And if you'd like to hear some of the past episodes of podcasts, because we do interviews with sales leaders, entrepreneurs, other types of business leaders, as well as these podcasts, go to socialsaleslink.com/podcasts. So to wrap up, when you are out and about, be sure to make your sales social.
So